Alright, Trump is definitely rattled after some top Republicans came out and said his economic policies are terrible. At the same time, my friend sent me a few Truth Social posts from Donald Trump this morning, and I immediately thought they were photoshopped. I said, hey, this is funny, but I don't put Photoshop stuff on my show, until I got out of bed and started doing my research for the day, and I realized that Trump is genuinely backsliding on Truth Social in front of our eyes. His cognitive decline is getting worse and worse, and with 41 days to go until the election, we have no time to waste, so make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe, and let's jump in with this post from Donald Trump from 10 o'clock last night. He said, I briefly watched an interview of Stephen Colbert on the highly government-subsidized PBS and found it fascinating for only one reason. Why would they be wasting time and the public's money on this complete and total loser? He then says he's not funny, he gets paid far too much, he's not wise, he's very boring. Then he says Gutfeld on cable is killing him. CBS should terminate his contract and pick almost anyone right off the street who would do better for far less money. So Donald Trump is spending valuable campaign time with 40 days to go, not talking about the economy or the American people. He's talking about his celebrity vengeances, people that he has personal beef with. And in the process, he says that Gutfeld has great numbers on Fox News. Meanwhile, Stephen Colbert, one of the largest names in America, somehow isn't doing well. Also, it's so ironic because Trump says, why would they be wasting time and the public's money on this complete and total loser? You know, it's funny. I feel the same way every time we get trapped covering Donald Trump's court proceedings or his deranged rallies. I mean, it's American history, so a lot of times we have to cover this stuff. But he's the one who is boring, who is a complete and total loser, and this only started his meltdown. He then said, big threats on my life by Iran. Keep in mind, this was posted at midnight last night. He said, the entire U.S. military is watching and waiting. No, they are not. Moves were already made by Iran that didn't work, but they will try again. Not a good situation for anyone. I am surrounded by more men, guns, and weapons than I have ever seen. Thank you to Congress for unanimously voting or approving far more money to the Secret Service. Strictly bipartisan. Nice to see Republicans and Democrats get together on something. Oh my lord, the first reply I just caught out of the corner of my eyes from Laura Loomer. We love you, President Trump. We know that you guys are in love. Trust me. But everything Trump says here is so cult-like and demagogish, if that's a word. He acts like a demagogue in the sense that he pretends as if everybody is out to get him, and he's doing this strictly for us, for the American people, but then in the next breath, he'll turn around and try to sell Bibles, sneakers, NFTs, whatever else to his followers. So he does this all with the end goal of tricking people and having them wrapped around his finger. So I just hope you're able to see through what he's doing here. He's trying to make himself seem like a big victim. And it's funny because in response, Tim Pool said, damn, scary shit. He's taking it seriously, but then Destiny said, no one cares, nerd. I agree with that one. Nobody cares, genuinely. And this brings me on to this insane post that I genuinely thought was photoshopped when I first saw it. It says, ABC fake news has been completely discredited and is now under investigation. Did they give Comrade Kamala the questions? I hate this talking point because how could Kamala Harris have guessed that they would talk about abortion, immigration, the economy? It's so obvious, but this is the line that is crazy. He said, it was 3-on-1, but they were mentally challenged people against one person of extraordinary genius. It wasn't even close, as is now reflected in the polls. This is absolutely absurd. And my friend sent this to me and said, extraordinary genius. Okay, buddy, come on. And the level of cognitive dissonance on display right now is insane. He is calling them mentally challenged, calling himself an extraordinary genius. And this made me wonder, how many times has Trump called people mentally challenged or mentally deficient in the past? So I went on the Truth Social database and I looked it up, and Trump says this stuff a lot. It's pure projection, but he said, not fit for office, mentally or physically. We need strong people, not suffering from a terminal disease. He is describing himself right there. He then says it again, I never knew how small, both mentally and physically, Robert De Niro was. You're going to call other people small mentally? He then says that Biden is angry, mentally disturbed. They say that people are mentally collapsing on stage. I mean, Donald Trump, oh, he says it again. Yesterday, Biden sent his mentally challenged servant, former actor Robert De Niro. I didn't know Trump called people mentally challenged so openly. It's not presidential. It is not presidential. Referring to people as mentally challenged just reminds me of the jocks in high school who used to talk like that. Normal people don't call others mentally challenged, but part of the reason Donald Trump is, I'm sure, melting down over the past 24 hours is because he straight up has been told by Mitch McConnell that his policies are awful. Watch this first clip.
Alex.
Former President Trump has proposed a 200% tariff on John Deere tractors if they're made in Mexico. Are you concerned that some of these tariff proposals by the GOP nominee could drive up costs for consumers or hurt bourbon exporters in Kentucky, for example?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of tariffs. They raise the prices for American consumers. I'm more of a free trade kind of Republican that remembers how many jobs are created by the exports that we engage in. So I'm not a tariff fan.
All right, I do not like Mitch McConnell, and he goes against everything I believe in. That doesn't even need to be said. But in this case scenario, he seems to be right. He also seems to understand what tariffs are more so than Donald Trump ever has. And it's because Mitch McConnell isn't dumb, he's just evil. But he said, yeah, I'm not a fan, talking about tariffs. It will raise prices for American consumers, and that is absolutely right. Passing more tariffs necessarily increases the prices for middle class, lower income Americans because when you're disincentivizing China, for example, from engaging in a certain action, you want to raise the prices on their imports. Therefore, the price increases for American citizens and they are less likely to buy those products, and that hurts China. So, any way you splice it, passing tariffs increases the cost for American consumers. Listen to what Jessica Tarlov has to say about the same thing.
And the economy is dramatically better under the Biden-Harris administration. We now have a soft landing coming. We were able to get a 50 basis point cut because of it. We have Dow 42K. And I get it. The retail politicking, I can see the charm of it. I can see how exciting it would be if Donald Trump walked into the kitchen that I was working at or the bodega that I was working at. But the American people are seeing through it, and it's being reflected in who they think is best suited to handle the economy. Donald Trump's lead on the economy is getting slashed in every survey that comes out. In the NBC poll, he's only up 9. He used to be up 13 points higher than that. In the CBS poll, up 6. The Fox poll, up 5. Tied in the FT poll and Morning Consult. We know that his policies will be more inflationary. He's going to add something like $5.8 trillion to the deficit. Kamala only $1.2 trillion. And when he continues to say, well, I'm going to do these things, I'm going to have the cost of energy. No plan to do it. The tariffs, that is not good economic policy. This is going to add a 20% tariff to some goods. That's not just something that you throw around. That's something that could be devastating for the American economy.
Jessica Tarlov makes a great point regarding the tariffs, regarding the deficit. Donald Trump has no clue what he's doing, and that was demonstrated every single time he opened his mouth while he was in the White House and after. Now, since we're 41 days out from the election, I'm not going to lie, I am getting a little bit nervous. Not over the fact that VP Harris is going to mess something up. She is doing great. Her and Tim Walz are killing it, but Democrats inherently have a disadvantage in the Electoral College, and I'm very, very nervous that on election night, we are all going to be a little bit surprised because it's going to be so close that it could go either way. So the only reason I'm saying this is because right now is the time to ramp it up. If you guys live in Pennsylvania or Wisconsin or Michigan or any of these swing states, you have avenues to make your voice heard. You can phone bank. You can make sure you go out and door knock. I'll be holding an event in Wisconsin. I'll put the link in the description next month if you want to meet me there and go door knock. Make sure you have a great rest of your day. I'm currently drinking coffee out of my Adam Mockler mug. It's Kamala Harris's face on Rosie the Riveter. You can find it in the description below. Have a great rest of your day and peace out.